All men should watch this video, because the truth is simple. If you want a woman to be truly obsessed with you, it has nothing to do with chasing, begging, or proving your worth. It has everything to do with how you carry yourself, how you control your mind, and how you project your presence into the world. Ryan Holiday, one of the greatest modern interpreters of Stoic philosophy, teaches us that self-mastery is the ultimate key to power. Not manipulation, not cheap tricks, not desperate games. A woman doesn't become obsessed with you when you give her the world. She becomes obsessed when she realizes she cannot control you. And this is exactly what Stoicism teaches. Control yourself, and you control the game. In this video, we will break down 7 psychological tricks, inspired by Stoic principles and sharpened with Ryan Holiday's teachings that will make any woman not only notice you, but think of you constantly, admire you deeply, and desire your presence more than anyone else. These aren't shallow tips about what to text, how to dress, or how to fake confidence. These are deep psychological and philosophical tools, things that work because they reshape your character, your energy, and your reality. Imagine 2 men. The first one texts constantly, calls nonstop, plans elaborate gestures, and seeks validation every step of the way. The second man is calm, composed, and doesn't give all his attention away like cheap currency. Which one do you think a woman becomes obsessed with? The answer is always the second man. Why? Because restraint creates scarcity, and scarcity creates value. Ryan Holiday often reminds us in the Daily Stoic that the essence of self-control is power. A man who cannot restrain his impulses is like a slave to his desires. And when a woman senses that you are a slave to her approval, she instantly loses attraction. But when you show restraint, when you do not jump at every message, when you do not instantly reply, when you show that your life is full, independent, and disciplined, she begins to crave your attention. Think about it. Why do people value diamonds? Not because they're useful like water, but because they're rare. When your time, attention, and energy are given sparingly, you become like a diamond, something she cannot have whenever she wants. Restraint makes her obsessed because it forces her to earn your presence. This doesn't mean you play childish games. It means you respect yourself enough to not pour everything into someone who hasn't yet earned it. It means you are grounded in your own mission, your own growth, and your own discipline. Women become obsessed with men who are centered, who are grounded, who are not constantly available. Restraint builds mystery, and mystery builds desire. So the first psychological trick is this. Practice restraint. Be deliberate about when you give your attention. Do not be easily moved. Control yourself, and you will control how she feels about you. Part 2. The power of silence. The second psychological trick flows naturally from the first. Silence. Most men think they need to impress a woman with endless talking, constant jokes, or exaggerated stories. But in reality, silence is one of the most powerful tools you can use. Ryan Holiday reminds us that Stoicism isn't just about what you say, it's also about what you don't say. Silence creates space. It makes your words heavier when you finally speak. Women become obsessed not with the man who talks the most, but with the man who speaks with weight, who chooses his words carefully, and who knows the value of silence. Silence forces her to lean in. It makes her wonder what you are thinking, what you are holding back, what is going on in your mind. Psychologically, silence builds tension, and tension is the root of attraction. If you reveal everything about yourself immediately, if you share every thought, every emotion, every detail, you destroy the mystery. But if you practice the discipline of silence, if you allow pauses in conversation, if you are comfortable simply being present without filling the space with noise, you project strength. There's a reason why great leaders, thinkers, and warriors often speak less. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's power. When a woman experiences that silence, she begins to obsess over you. She fills the gaps in her mind. She starts to wonder about you when you're not there, and she invests more energy trying to figure you out. Remember, desperation speaks loudly, but confidence is often quiet. So the second psychological trick is this. Embrace silence. Do not rush to fill every gap. Allow her to feel the weight of your presence, the calm in your restraint, and the strength in your silence. One of the most overlooked psychological truths in attraction is this: a woman becomes obsessed with the man who is not obsessed with her. Ryan Holiday explains in his interpretation of Stoicism that the only things within your control are your thoughts and your actions. Everything else, including whether someone likes you, loves you, or leaves you, is outside of your control. When you truly embrace this truth, you discover the power of indifference. Indifference is not about being cold or cruel. It is about emotional control. When you do not need her approval, when you are not shaken by her moods, when her validation or rejection does not dictate your worth, you instantly stand apart from other men. Why? Because most men crumble under pressure. They chase harder when she pulls away. They panic when she goes silent, and they lose all composure when they feel ignored. But the man who remains steady, calm, and unshaken, the one who is not desperate to win her back, the one who continues living his mission, training his mind, building his empire, that man becomes unforgettable. Indifference forces her to question her own power over you, and paradoxically, the less you need her, the more she desires you. This aligns with Marcus Aurelius's famous Stoic lesson, one Ryan Holiday often repeats: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The strength of indifference is that it makes you untouchable. You are not tossed around by external validation. You remain centered, disciplined, and unbothered, and that psychological calmness makes you magnetic. So the third psychological trick is indifference. Care about her, yes. Enjoy her presence, yes. But do not let her opinion define your reality. This rare strength makes you unforgettable, and obsession always follows. Part 4. The power of purpose. Let's move to the fourth trick: purpose. Ryan Holiday teaches that every man must live as if he were on a mission. Without purpose, you are like a ship drifting at sea, pulled by every wave, every current, every distraction. But with purpose, you become unstoppable, and women sense that energy instantly. Here's a hard truth: women are not obsessed with men who make them the center of their lives. They are obsessed with men who are already married to their purpose. Think of great leaders, athletes, creators, and thinkers. These men do not wake up wondering how to entertain or please someone else. They wake up with fire in their eyes, committed to something bigger than themselves. And that dedication, that drive, that vision, it is intoxicating. When you have a clear purpose, you naturally embody traits women desire: focus, ambition, resilience, and direction. You stop acting needy because your time is valuable. You stop over-investing because your energy is reserved for your mission. You stop fearing loss because your identity is not tied to a woman. It is tied to the pursuit of greatness. Ryan Holiday often writes that ego is the enemy. When you live without purpose, your ego seeks cheap victories, likes, validation, quick pleasure. But when you live with purpose, your ego is silenced by discipline. You become mission-driven, not approval-driven. And that is what separates men who are forgotten from men who are obsessed over. So the fourth psychological trick is this: find your purpose and let it consume you. The more you live for your mission, the more women will want to be part of your story. They will chase, they will admire, and they will obsess, because purpose-driven men are rare, and rarity breeds desire. Part 5. The power of boundaries. The fifth psychological trick is boundaries. Too many men confuse love with self-sacrifice. They think saying yes to everything, giving endlessly, and allowing disrespect will somehow win loyalty. But in reality, it destroys respect. A woman does not obsess over the man she can walk all over. She obsesses over the man who stands firm in his principles, who enforces his boundaries, and who does not tolerate disrespect. Ryan Holiday reminds us that Stoicism is about living in alignment with virtue, courage, wisdom, justice, and self-control. Boundaries are an expression of all four. It takes courage to say no. It takes wisdom to know what is non-negotiable. It takes justice to demand fairness in relationships, and it takes self-control to walk away from situations that violate your standards. When you enforce boundaries, you communicate strength. You show her that your time is valuable, your energy is precious, and your respect must be earned. Women test boundaries naturally, not because they are cruel, but because human psychology is wired to measure strength. If you collapse under pressure, if you give in to manipulation, if you tolerate behavior that goes against your values, you signal weakness. But when you hold the line, when you calmly yet firmly enforce your standards, she cannot help but admire. You boundaries create safety, but they also create obsession. Why? Because they prove you are not like other men. Other men may cave, but you do not. Other men may bend, but you remain firm. And that firmness is unforgettable. So the fifth psychological trick is this: enforce boundaries without fear. Say no when needed. Protect your values. Demand respect. A woman who realizes you cannot be broken will chase you harder, respect you deeper, and become obsessed with the strength you embody. The sixth psychological trick is emotional control. Most men fail here because they allow their emotions to run wild: anger, jealousy, insecurity, or desperation. They raise their voices when they feel disrespected, they panic when they sense distance, and they lose composure when things don't go their way. But the Stoics, and Ryan Holiday especially, teach us that the man who controls his emotions controls the battlefield of life. Think about this. A woman will test you, not out of malice, but because tests reveal truth. She wants to know if you can handle pressure, if you can stay calm when things don't go your way, if you are stable when storms arrive. Most men fail these tests. They overreact, they argue, they beg, they sulk. And in those moments, attraction dies. But imagine the man who responds differently. He does not get angry when challenged. He does not crumble when rejected. He does not lose his cool when something unexpected happens. Instead, he breathes, he pauses, he chooses his response with clarity. This is what Ryan Holiday calls the obstacle is the way. Every challenge, every emotional trigger is an opportunity to demonstrate composure and strength. A woman becomes obsessed with the man who cannot be emotionally shaken. Why? Because he represents security. He becomes an anchor in a world full of chaos. His calmness makes her feel safe. His composure makes him attractive, and his emotional discipline makes him unforgettable. So the sixth psychological trick is this: master emotional control. Never let your feelings dictate your actions. When you show restraint under pressure, you radiate power, and power is irresistible. Part 7. The power of walking away. The seventh and final psychological trick is the most difficult, yet the most powerful: the ability to walk away. This one principle separates men who are controlled by women from men who inspire obsession in women. Ryan Holiday often writes about the Stoic discipline of detachment, the ability to let go of what you cannot control, the courage to accept loss, and the strength to continue forward no matter what. Most men cannot walk away. They cling, they beg, they compromise their dignity just to hold on, and in that clinging they destroy attraction. But the man who can calmly, confidently, and unapologetically walk away if his standards are not met, that man is untouchable. Walking away does not mean you do not care. It means you care about yourself, your values, and your mission more than you care about temporary comfort. It means you will not tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or emotional games. It means you are not trapped by fear of loss. And here is the paradox. When a woman realizes you are capable of walking away, she fears losing you. That fear creates obsession, because deep down, people only value what they can lose. If she feels, you will never leave no matter what, she takes you for granted. But if she knows you will walk away the second she crosses the line, she respects you, desires you, and fights to keep you. So the seventh psychological trick is this: always be ready to walk away. Do not fear loss. A man who is willing to walk away is a man who cannot be controlled, and that is the most attractive quality of all. Ending. So let's bring it all together. Ryan Holiday's modern interpretation of Stoic wisdom teaches us that power in life and power in relationships begins with power over yourself. These 7 psychological tricks are not manipulations. They are disciplines. They are reflections of a man who has mastered restraint, silence, indifference, purpose, boundaries, emotional control, and the strength to walk away. When you embody these principles, women don't just like you. They become obsessed. Not because you chased them, not because you begged for attention, but because you radiated strength, control, and purpose. You showed them that your world does not revolve around them. It revolves around your mission, your values, and your discipline. And paradoxically, that is what makes them want to revolve around you. Remember this: obsession is never about what you give endlessly. It is about what you withhold strategically. It is about the mystery you maintain, the power you embody, and the standards you enforce. As Ryan Holiday would remind us, control yourself, not others. Strength comes from within. So to every man watching this, stop chasing, stop begging, stop giving your power away. Instead, live with restraint. Embrace silence. Stay indifferent to what you can't control. Dedicate yourself to your purpose. Enforce your boundaries. Master your emotions. And always have the courage to walk away. Do this, and you will not just attract women. You will attract respect, admiration, and obsession,